Subiaco towards the wing, but the numbers are all Richmond.
High ball, twisting back, and against a goal, it's a goodie. Joe
Bowden, one of his left foot, spears it into the pocket, looking for and finding Andrew Cracker. High kick towards half forward, numbers there for both sides. Things starting to go Richmond's way.
G'day, I'm Mark Dragosevic and welcome to this week's edition of Tigerland on Fox Footy. Tigerland is where you find out what's going on around the club and get all the important news on the players and coaches every Wednesday night. Well, last Sunday we faced Adelaide at Amy Stadium. Let's check out some of the highlights.
Around the body towards Rashudo, but a good mark by Rashudo's tagger at the moment, Duncan Kellaway. And the Tigers back inside 50. High ball, Stafford. Well, they've been threatening to score for a while, the Tigers. And finally, at the 7-minute mark of the opening term, we will probably get our first score.
You look at that shot there, and there is 4 Crows within, 2 metres of the drop of that ball. Yet he just stood like a tower over all of them. That height's going to be a big factor there. Really stood tall.
He's had a good season. Happy birthday, Greg Stafford. Bounce. It's going to be a big loss. And a free kick's been pulled out of that ruck contest.
Ryan Campbell having a good quarter. He looks to have pushed up onto the wing. He's playing against Michael Doughty. He's getting a few possessions.
Stafford to Ottens. Plays on immediately. Bowden, high inside 50. Richo's down there. Roden, back of the pack. Can he pounce?
No touch.
Has that been touched?
It's through for a goal. Well, some of the Crow players like Massey playing to be in the 22 come the finals. Handball to Roden, close to the boundary line. Keeps it in. Tivendale, 60 from goal. Chips it around the body. Dangerous. Good mark taken inside 50 by Bowden. And he a chance to kick a consolation goal for Richmond. Roden's handball over the top. No surprise that Roden is quick. His uncle John ran the 100 metres at the Atlanta Olympics. Speed in the family. Bowden about to kick a goal from the 50. High drop punt brings it back on the breeze. That's a gem of a kick. Binky was there, Biglands was there, beaten for it by Gasper. Wide from him, Zantuck. Most players warm up with music pre-game. Zantuck likes to listen to Rodney Rood. He won't be laughing at the scoreboard at the moment. Kicks to half forward. Richardson handballs to Tivendale. He can run and kick it all the way. Drop punt from 40. That's a celebration of sorts.
So Richmond's winning streak was ended at 3 by one of the premiership favourites, who got the better of the start before the Tigers fought back in the second term. We were competitive all afternoon, but the Crows found goals at crucial stages, eventually prevailing by 22 points, 13-9-87 to Richmond's 9-11-65. Matty Richardson was again our leading goal scorer with 3. Joel Ben was our other multiple goal scorer with 2. Mark Coughlin continued his sensational season, collecting 26 possessions and an amazing 12 clearances. Matty Richardson's purple patch also continued as he pulled in 8 marks as our main focal point up forward. Andrew Kellaway turned in another hard-working performance with 8 marks of his own, while skipper Wayne Campbell racked up 21 possessions and 6 clearances. So a good performance by the Tigers against the premiership side at home, but just weren't quite good enough to snatch the win. Let's now hear from coach Danny Frawley.
We talked about it as a group. We thought we started really well in the first half. The Eagles got out to a little bit of a fly, but I thought we battled back well against the wind. It was probably a 2 or 3 goal breeze out there. Probably didn't make the most of our opportunities in the first half. I think we had 10 scoring shots, 5-5, and probably 3 out of the 5 have had to been goals. You've got to, when you go into state, you've got to make sure you can have a little bit of a winning lead at half time. We didn't do that. And probably in the second half just made some basic fundamentals. Adelaide probably did run over the top of us a little bit, but we still had some opportunities in the last quarter to kick some goals too. And if you can get that belief factor going early, in the last quarter we didn't do that. I suppose being down for most of the year, a lot of guys think, gee, can we win over interstate against the top 4 side? I believe that we probably got a lot more belief out of that game even even though we didn't win than even our last 3 or 4 performances. Because they're a very good side.
The last 4 weeks, 3-1 record, I think. What do you put the improvement down to? Anything specific?
There's probably a few guys fighting for spots on the list for next year. We want to make sure we finish off the year on a higher note than what we had in the middle of the year. We started off the year pretty well. So, yeah, I think our last 5 performances here we got beat by Essendon by a point. So our last 5 weeks should give our guys a lot of belief going into next year. You know, there's still some good performances out there from a few of our youngsters. Mark Coughlin thought he was terrific again in the midfield. He's one that's really jumped up, so we've found another quality midfielder in there. Thought Ray Hall presented pretty well on the half-forward flank. He's got a hell of a lot to learn as a half-forward, but he really did present hard. And a few of our youngsters, Fiora, looked exciting at times, and Zantuck. And our senior players are starting to play some better football too, which, you need that, especially going into state.
I'm joined now by assistant coach Greg Hutchinson. Thanks for joining us here on Tigerland.
No worries, Mark. Good to be here.
Well, 3.5 pretty good quarters against Adelaide on the weekend. They just overran us in the end.
Yeah, look, it was a pretty good performance, albeit that you still get beaten. I think we had a couple of opportunities early in the last quarter. I think if Joel had have kicked that goal, well, you just never know. You get some momentum and maybe the result would have been different. But the players actually kept having a real crack at it for the whole 4 quarters, which was pretty good.
Well, the last 5 or 6, or actually you could say 7 or 8 weeks have been pretty good for the club in terms of form. What do you put that down to?
Oh, look, I think we've been able to have our preferred structure in place. We've been able to have Stafford, Richardson, Hall and Ottens all being able to go through the forward line and through the ruck. So that's really helped us. It's helped our players, give them a bit more direction coming through the midfield. We've had a fair bit of impetus through some different players in the midfield as well, which has made a difference. And we've been able to put Campbell back to a half-back flank to give us a bit of run. So, look, I think just a bit more confidence and just a preferred structure has been in place.
What sort of things do you think we'll be looking for pre-season in terms of draft or players?
Yeah, look, it's a good question and one that you toy with all the time. And having a look at our side compared to the other teams, if we try and get to where Brisbane are, you try to find the midfielders that they've got that are big and strong and can really make an impact in the game whenever they play. And we're a few years away from getting to that stage, but we'll look at probably a good hard inside midfielder in the draft, and then you just have to weigh up what comes along in the draft, and then you just take them to whatever you think the club needs at the time.
Well, the season ends next week, but what would you be doing? The players get a bit of a break. Will you be going on holiday or anything?
Oh, no, not straight away. I might have a bit of time off late September, obviously, because we won't be involved in the grand final. It makes me a bit sick to be around to have a look at it. We've got the trip to London, so we need to be fairly organised for that. We do a review at the end of the year, and that'll happen on Monday after the final game. We'll come in as a coaching panel and do a review of all our areas. I'll look at the midfield, and Darren will look at the backs, and Dave will look at the forwards, and we'll do a presentation for Danny, and then we'll sit down together and we'll work out what we need to do and how we can improve in each of our areas. So it's pretty much full on, and then we shift into the recruiting phase, if you like, and we'll look at the tapes available of the players. We'll go and watch the under-18 competition during the final series, and of course we'll really have a good scrutiny of the other AFL lists to see if there are any players there that may be able to help us.
Obviously looking for a big win against Sydney in our last game.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a terrific opportunity for our guys to play at Stadium Australia, an Olympic venue, and I know if I was playing, it'd be a really exciting thing to be able to run out there and play a game of footy in an Olympic venue, and I think that our players will be really keen to do well. We want to finish the year off well. We've been pretty good in the last 5 or 6 weeks, so we want to make sure that we finish the last 7 games in the positive. So if we can be 4-3 after the last 7 games, which we set ourselves as a bit of a goal, it'll be a fairly positive result, and we can take some of that into next year.
Very good, Hutch. Thanks for joining us here on Tigerland.
No worries, Drago. Good to do it.
I'm joined now by Richmond skipper Wayne Campbell. Thanks for joining us here on Tigerland, mate.
No worries, Mark.
The weekend's game was good for 3 quarters, and they just overran us in the end.
Yeah, we played some really good footy in the first half and probably should have been up a couple of goals at half time, I thought. But then third quarter wasn't too bad. Then I don't know what they were up at 3/4 time, but we had the opportunity probably to hit the lead in the last quarter, but we missed a couple of shots at goal and made some mistakes, which we probably haven't done over the last 3 or 4 weeks. We've been playing reasonable footy, but what we had done earlier in the year, just making too many mistakes. So, and then, we just seemed to run out of legs a little bit at the end. So good effort for a little while, but then disappointing not to get the points.
Yeah, Mark Coughlin, again, continuing his pretty good run of form. How do you see his year so far?
Yeah, he's been terrific. I think he had something like 12 clearances, which is a great effort for a second or third year player. What is he, second year player? Just been attacking the ball very hard and using the footy a lot better than what he was earlier in the year as well. So he's there hasn't been too many positives to come out of the year, but certainly he's a huge positive for us.
In your own form, how have you seen that this year?
Yeah, not too bad, Mark. Over the last couple of weeks, I've gone back to a half-back flank, which has been quite interesting actually, just to assess the game from back there rather than being in the hurly-burly of the centre square and everything like that. So yeah, it's been okay.
That's good. New nugget in your back pocket for us. Right. What are we going to be looking for next year, like in the off-season? What sort of things will we work on?
I think we have to work on our speed and our power and also skills again. I think. If you looked at the Wizard Cup this year, we were one of the most skillful sides in the competition, but then as soon as our confidence dropped off, well, our skills dropped off as well. So I think when you're winning, your confidence is up and everything seems to be going well, like it has for the last 3 or 4 weeks up until the Adelaide game, but when we're losing, we just drop off a bit too much. So, yeah, I mean, I think we've got to work on all facets of the game, but I think the last couple of weeks have shown that we're not too far off when we play at our best.
And yourself, Wayne, what will you be doing at the end of the season? Going away anywhere?
Yeah, go away for a little while. Obviously, go to London. We're playing Essendon in an exhibition game over there. So, and then travel on for a little while after that. So, be resting up for a fair while. But then I think we start training on about the November the 4th, the day before Melbourne Cup or after Melbourne Cup. So, it's going to be I'd say, to be quite an intense pre-season. So, I have to rest up before that and then yeah, get into it.
Looking for a big win to finish off the season this week against Sydney?
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting playing at Stadium Australia up there, where the site of the Olympics. But yeah, the 3 weeks before the Adelaide game were really good, and then to lose against Adelaide was disappointing. So I think it'll undo a lot of our good work ending off the season if we finish with 2 losses. So certainly I think it's a bigger game than what most people would think.
Well, good luck, mate. Have a good one this week, and I'll see you after the game.
We'd like to see you next season, Mark. It'd be great.
Thanks, mate. Well, it's time now to get up to date with everything that's happening around the club with our Tigerland bulletin board.
The Jack Dyer medal presentation on Monday, September 30, out on the turf on Colonial Stadium. It's a black tie event with a 3-course meal, refreshments and live entertainment. Tickets are now on sale for $135 a head. Contact the club for bookings and information. Don't miss one of the club's most important evenings as the Jack Dyer medal is presented to Richmond's best and fairest player for 2002. Log on to richmondfc.com.au and cast your 3-2-1 votes for the best Richmond player in each round, which will go towards the Prime Advice Player of the Year award. Voting closes next Thursday. One lucky voter will present the Prime Advice Player of the Year trophy to the winner at the Jack Dyer Medal presentation night.
Well, that just about wraps up this week's edition of Tigerland. Thanks for joining us. The Mighty Tigers are looking to finish their season on a high when we head to Sydney this week to face the Swans at Telstra Stadium on Saturday night. If you can't get along and support us, don't worry, you can catch all the action right here on Fox Footy. Tigerland will continue right throughout September, so you can get your regular dose of yellow and black news. We'll also have regular updates right across the summer here on Fox Footy. Catch us at the same time next week, and go the Mighty Tigers.
Andrew Cracker, high kick towards half forward, numbers there for both sides, things starting to go Richmond's way. Towards half forward, numbers there for both sides, things starting to go Richmond's way.